afternoon. Let me know who's coming on. Hello. Oh, I should move my coffee out of the way. Who's joining me today? We're going to have some fun with some hunky-dories. I jumped on just maybe half a minute early, so I'll give it a few minutes past the hour to see who's going to be joining us. Hi, Judy. How are you? Did you guys get more snow? I thought I seen in the forecast you were supposed to get more snow. I'm starting to feel bad for you. Ours is melting. We had a lot of rain yesterday. Are you watching today, Judy, or are you going to play along? I think I'm going to get going. Hopefully the video is stable. There was 4 on and now I see 0, but I'm not sure what's happening. It looks like everything's going well on my end. Oh, 3 of us popped back on again. Hi, Dale. I was just saying, it looks a little squirrely as to viewers. It's kind of going up and down in a rapid manner. So I'm not sure what's happening there, but it looks like it's going on my end. Please let me know if you're making with me, because then I'll adjust my speed. I did do a lot of pre-cutting for this one. It's been my experience that most of you are watching, and then you'll decide if you want to play along. I do believe there's still packets left at the store, so if anybody's interested after you see the projects, please get those. And you'll also have a chance to use from your own stash, which I personally appreciate. I always love when I can pull out papers from my own stash and use, perhaps older lines that I just have, but the colors match. So I did do that for this. I used 2 different types of 49er market, and I did post it as to what I used. And I had the 6x8 pads just sitting kind of in my pile from a couple years ago. So I found that pattern paper matched really well with the cards with these colors here. So that's what I pulled from. You don't have to. You can simply just go with the cardstock if you'd like. But I like it with the pattern paper. And I didn't ask Heather to include it in the kit, because that would have just made the price point go up more, which I'm sure everybody has packets of 6x8 paper or 12x12 paper that you can trim down if you want to use pattern paper with it. So let's get going. This is the one that we're using, is Beautiful Blooms. And today I'll make 6 cards with you. I already made 6. So the samples will look a little different than the ones we're making today. But that's what you're going to have in your kit. So the package will have enough supplies for 12 cards. And this is going to be our first one. And we're actually using some acetate. And in your package was 4 sheets of the very, very beautiful. It's gold on one side, silver on the other. Beautiful acetate from Hunkydory, and it's nice heavyweight acetate, so you can easily make folds and flips with it. So this is the first card, and I did go into my stash and I picked out some silver embellishments that I just put on the cards afterwards. Hi Carolyn. And that's the card stock. So let's get going. Now, like I said, I did some pre-cutting. If anybody is actually making with me, please let me know. And I have my, and I'll put them within frame if you can zoom in after the video, and I will upload my video to my YouTube channel, so feel free to look there if you can't find it on Unique. I don't know if Facebook actually went ahead with their little thing that they were doing with older videos past 30 days, but I'm trying to keep in the habit of uploading them. Hi Judy, hi Michelle. Okay, so when you punch out all your little sheets, so you'll get 6 sheets, 12 sheets, I can't remember now, but there's enough to make 2 cards. This is the sample, and as you can see, this one has a square front, where this one's going to have a circle front, but the design of the card is going to be the same. So I'm just putting my card there to view, and this is all my bits, and I will give you the measurements as we go along. And I know I started with card 2, if you can see that, but that's okay. So I'm just going to put all my little bits up here. And actually, I have 3 sayings that I can use. Birthday wish, with heartfelt sympathy, and then from me to you. This one here, I put the anniversary on your anniversary. So you can make all kinds of different ones as well, because they include the sentiments with them too. So we're going to start, oh, I got some little corners. And those are my little gems. We're going to start with a piece of the cream color cardstock, and it's going to be 7 by 5. So 7 long by 5, and you're going to score it 1 1/4. So 7 by 5 on the 5-inch mark. So if you look at the grid on the 5-inch mark, we're going to go down and score it 1 1/4. And then we have a piece of acetate, and the acetate is cut. Acetate from flour is cut. So when you do your cutting, you do 2 of everything. And that way you'll already have it cut for your second card if you're buying the package. So you'll need 2 pieces of the acetate. One's already put together. And this one here is 5 by 5 3/4. Okay. And you can see I already put some double-sided tape down here. And our next step is very easy. Now I want the silvery side to show up. If you want the gold, you just flip it over, but I want the silver, and I thought that was so smart of them to do that. So you're just going to tuck your acetate all the way in. Make sure it's even on the bottom. And then I'm just going to peel off my adhesive. I wanted to do some different folds and flaps for you, so it's not going to be the standard that I usually do. And then you're going to adhere that down. So then this becomes your open flap. Already it's pretty. So again, your card base is 7 by 5 or 5 by 7, and on the 5-inch side you're going to score it at 1 1/4. And then your acetate is 5 by 5 3/4, and you're going to tuck that right up top. Use some good tape and tape that in so that the acetate becomes your front flap. And then from here on in, it's pretty simple. So we're going to adhere our circle on the other one. It's going to be a square. So you will have in the packages, it is the same designs as what I have here. Okay. So I know that I only have to put a little bit of adhesive up there. Now on the inside of my square, I did put a piece of cardstock, and I think that's where, because I had put some adhesive down, it's coming back to me now. So because I want to hide any adhesive I put in the center here, I did cut a circle just with my circle punch. I took the biggest one that I had, and this one's it's a 2.5 circle. So I know that that's going to go in the center of my card. So I know I can put some adhesive right in the center as well. And these cards have some weight to them because I did use a lot of score tape. I find I am just loving score tape so much. I know it's a little bit more costly, but I love using score tape. So make sure you mark where your tape's going to go. So I'm going to put a little bit right up at the top here. And I almost had a panic because I opened my score tape drawer and I think it's only half full. So I'm just going to put a couple of pieces here. This isn't going to go anywhere, but I always like to make sure. I need to get my little, I like using my Tim Holtz X-Acto knife for pulling the adhesive back off. I find this very useful. What are you guys all up to today? A little garbage can. Did you just get more snow? So I want to leave a little bit to put a strip up there. There we go. So that's pretty good. Even if you didn't have anything there, it doesn't show too badly, but I do cover it. So up on the top, we're going to take one of these strips, and we have, after I done my last card, we have options. But I think I'm going to use this little one for, it has a flower on it, but this one here has words. It says, with love, with love, with love. That's pretty too. Maybe I'll use that one. I'm just going to put my pencil and mark it where I have to trim it. And it's not going to be right on the words, but that's okay because it's just a repetition of 2 words. I use all the adhesive, ladies. The liquid glue, the tape runner, the double-sided. I love them all. And then we're going to put our little banner up top here, making sure it's even Steven. I like that. And then down here we're going to choose a sentiment. And I don't have a lot of sympathy cards right now, so I think I'm going to put the sympathy. So this is nice, with love, with love. And then I'm going to pop this up with some foam tape. Oh, I don't think I need this piece. I'll use that one for the next one. Is anybody making with me? I see that I skipped down to one viewer again. I'm not sure what's happening with Facebook. I hope it's running fine for you. If anybody's on, just let me know. So the little with sympathy is going down here. So then I'm going to open my card. And for the inside, I'm going to put my circle. Now, I cut this out of a piece of the scrap of my pattern paper that I had, but I think I want this side showing. So I'm just going to use my tape runner for this side. And I'm going to put this right in the middle. It's telling me that there's one viewer on. So if that is you, can you let me know if everything's working right on your end? You're here, Michelle? Good. And you can hear me okay and see okay? It's just like it's up and down with the numbers, so I'm not sure what's happening. So I'm putting that little piece there. Because you will see your double-sided adhesive on acetate. And one of the reasons why I like using double-sided adhesive is because if you don't, and you don't get right to the edges, your acetate can curl. So I have this piece, and this is going to be, this was one of the pattern papers that I had used. So whatever pattern paper you choose, you're going to cut a piece that's 4 3/4 by 5 1/2, and that's going to be down here. So I'll put that down, and I think I'll put this side up. So I'll glue it down with the dark teal. So I had a couple pads of 49 Market that had the colors, the color palette of the Hunkydory that I used. And then I'm going to put this piece, which is 1 by 4 3/4, and I'm going to put that in here. Now for the square, all good? Perfect. So let me put this one down. And this is the one with the circle on the front, right? So this is the circle. So when you do the one with the square, I cut a piece that was 2 1/4 by 4 1/4, and I just did half of the square. And this one I did put many happy returns for on your anniversary. And we do have one here that says, "May this day be filled with treasured moments." I don't think I'll put that there because this is a sympathy card. And there's a birthday wish. So these ones I can keep for another card. So I won't put anything on the inside there. But we do have some of these little bits left from the packaging. And those kind of look nice there. I think I'm going to put them there. Liquid glue will stick to your acetate. It just takes a little bit of time. So I'm going to take 2 of these corners and put them up here. The quality of the Hunkydory paper is really nice. It's so thick, and it already has like the outline, the silver outline, so it's so pretty. So that's card 1. Now we do have 2 of these little circle ones. I think I will take them and put them on the inside of the card. And I know that Heather has some package sentiments, like for verses, inside card verses. I thought she had some there for sympathy. So that might be good, because we always struggle for, like I always struggle as to what I'm going to write inside of a sympathy card. So if I had something that was predetermined, that would be alright. And we still have this piece here left over, so I think I'm going to put that up here. Use up every little piece that we can possibly use, because these cards are gorgeous. Now all I have left is 2 bits of strips and a couple of those sentiments. I'm going to put my little gemstones down here, and I'm just going to do 3. And these are pink fresh dots. I don't know what I do with my little pickup. It's probably in the drawer, so I'm just using my X-Acto knife here. So there we go. I don't want to toss this around too much because my little gems will come off. But the inside, I'll show you when those dry. And then that's the one with the square. So that's the first card. Now for card number 2, this one's fun. This one is going to be a shaker. So we're going to use some acetate again, but in a different way. Look at this one. Again, your top piece will be different because of the way the package was separated, but you'll get the same if you pick up the kit. This one's a birthday, and it's kind of like a half flap. When you open it though, I put some strips, some pattern paper, a little corner, but it's got a shaker element in it. It is very pretty. So let's get this one done. And I used, for the first one I should have said, because you do, in your kit you get 4 different sheets of the pattern acetate. So for this first card, it's the one with all the flowers that I used. For this one, it's the one with the flower strip going through the center of the acetate. And these are old sprinkles that I've had kicking around for a long time. This was Catherine Pooler ones. But again, just look through your stash and see what you have that's matching. This matched pretty good. It has greens and purples and whites. So I'm going to use the rest of those ones here. So this is what we had left after I made the first card. So I'm just going to put all my pieces up top here. So this one has, so let me see, I said it was the ones with the flowers going through, so it must have been flowers, and then it has like pieces of notes or something for the second part. So that must have been the entire strip. Or maybe I used the flowers for one and this one for the other just because of the size that I had to do. So just have a look in your package when you get it. So for the card base, we're using this lovely lavender, and we're cutting a piece that is 7 by 10. Now I just want to make sure that's right. No, that's not right. Why do I have 7 by 10? Oh, I know what I did. It is 7 by 10. But when I show you what I did, you may choose to cut yours differently, because I didn't decide to make half flap until after I did the initial cut. So I did do 7 by 10, and then I scored it down the center to give me a 5 by 7 card. But then I decided I wanted to trim half of the front panel off, so I cut 2.5 off of the front panel. If you don't want to waste, well, I didn't waste it because I ended up using the other piece of lavender somewhere else. So if you get the package, you may as well do it like me, so that you'll have that leftover piece for the other card. Okay, so 5 by 7 card, you're going to cut 5 by 10, score it on the 7-inch side. You're going to score it at 2.5. Okay. And you're gonna, when you punch out your card for this one, your card fronts, you're going to keep the frame. So when you punch them all out, and then you're going to take your scissors and trim around your frame to keep it, because this is what we're going to attach our acetate to in order to make a shaker panel. Okay. So I already put score tape all the way around my frame. All the way around, and you need to really put score tape everywhere that you don't want your bits in. If you want your bits coming all the way down in the corners, then you wouldn't have to put score tape here. But I kind of want to keep my bits in the center, so I did score tape all the way around. So we're going to take that off. Are you guys Hunkydory fans? I know that the product is doing really well. This was my first handling of it. They do make beautiful cards. It made me get out of my comfort zone of doing the typical 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 kind of card, because these are all 5 by 7, if not larger. I might have to make some envelopes. I don't know if I have enough, if I have the right size of envelopes. And I did not ask Heather to include envelopes in this, so maybe she did. Sometimes she adds things and I don't know. But I did not ask her because I was not sure how large I was going to make the cards. So again, decide which side. I want the silver side of the paper. So I'm going to put my acetate here on the bottom. There's a little bit of static in your acetate. As long as you get it so that everything's covered, I can trim off the edges. As long as you don't have any holes for your sprinkles to fall through. I don't know about you guys, but I have the darndest time seeing acetate. I have to hold it just so and cork my head just so in order to really see it. So that's our acetate front. And then the next thing we're going to do is, from whatever pattern paper you choose to use, you're going to cut a piece that is 4 1/2 by 6 3/8. And that's what's going to be down on the bottom, so when your shaker bits come through, you have some nice pattern behind it. So we're just going to sit that there for a minute. And we can actually go ahead and put our pattern paper down on the inside of our card. I used all the rest of the 49er Market paper pad for my memory decks little filing system. So that's where your pattern paper goes. And now we're going to place foam tape all along the sides, and this is where those thin strips really come in handy. So that's these strips here that I'm talking about, because they're like perfect. I'm going to go all around the outside first, and then I will piece around, just so that I don't have to cut off my ends until I'm all the way around one run. And I'm just looking at it. I had told you folks to put your score tape here so that your shaker bits don't fall through, but really it's not going to do anything to prevent your shaker bits from falling through. The only way, if I want to keep my shaker bits in the center and not come up in the corners, I'd have to put foam tape here. And because the design is cut really different, I'm not going to do that. So if some of the bits want to float up to the top, that is going to be okay with me, because I don't want my foam tape showing all the way through. And you have to make sure you butt it right up against so that there's no holes for it to fall out of. So you squish it right in there. And just a little bit left here. I'm not going to save that little bit. So before I put my sprinkles, I want to put down the rest of my elements. So we're going to cut a side panel, so it's a leftover piece. So it's kind of left over from this one, and it is, I have two leftover pieces. So one is 2 1/4 by 6 3/8, and that is going to go on the front. And you can decide which color. Where my base is purple, I'm going to put the pattern side up. I'm going to put the butter flutters facing up. And I kind of want to keep it the same as what I did on the inside. And then the smaller strip, and this one is 1 1/2 by 1 2 3 4 5 6 1/4. That one's going to go in here, and I'm going to put it over at the edge because we have one of these that we can go down here. So I'm going to nestle it up away from your fold line though. And which one do I want? Time to celebrate. So this one says have a fabulous day. So to me that spells birthday. So I think I'll put the time to celebrate. And just using my pencil. Now you can go right from edge to edge here if you want. And I think I will. Just so that I can keep the words all in line. I'm just going to turn this sideways so I can have a better look. I don't know about you folks, but I love my glass mat. It just helps me line everything up. I did have the black one, and I broke down, got the white one, because when I was doing videos for you folks, the black one, it was hard to see. So on this front panel is where your topper element is going to go. Now in this corner, we have some of these little edges, so we're going to put one here. And whatever you have left, just put it aside, and you can tuck it in a little bag and use it on future cards as little accents. And I want to be careful. Well, if to have it right in the center, then this one's easy because of the pattern. So just make sure you know which side you need your score tape. So I need my score tape on this side. And I'm just going to go a little bit in from my center mark. Now, if something happened that you put your score tape on the wrong side, if you have some undo, easy to get it off. If you don't have undo, you can roll your score tape up. It will tear some of your white paper, but you could trace and then stick a back plate on if you had to. There's really no way to ruin cards. I did not plan that, but look how nicely that butterfly matches up. We're going to be covering it anyway. So just know where your center is, and like I said, on this one it's pretty easy because of my points. So that's the front, and have a fabulous day. We're going to pop that up. This is probably the most challenging card, I think. You guys that have been using Hunkydory for a while, this is a walk in the park for you, because you're all acclimated to this process. And then I am going to go kind of over the vase area because I want it to be all in the front. I don't want any of it to hang over. So have a fabulous day. This part here is done. I did on the other one, I had tucked in a corner, but the corner was a little different than these ones. It was more like it was kind of rounded, so I could do that. This one doesn't really work that way, so I'm not going to be tucking any corners there. But let's put our acetate down. So I have to bring the card to me. So we're going to take off our backing. You guys are very, very quiet today. Most days I can get you to chat a little bit amongst yourself. But you're very quiet. Anybody watch the Tim Holtz live? That's what I was doing before I came on. He does these lives now where like he's kind of just featuring his products, which I think is fabulous. A lot of people had gotten angry with his comment at the very first when he said he wasn't going to be designing anymore, and he went on about using what you have. But in all truthfulness, sales is not going to stop because he does such a fabulous job at showing us how to use his products that if we don't have them, we want them. So it will be good. So I'm just going to dump the rest of these in here. And I'm going to carefully put this. Been lazy day for you, Michelle? Well, nothing's wrong with that. I didn't do too much other than a little bit of craft. Well, I did my housework in the morning and got some laundry done. And got a little bit of crafting in. But you know, we work. We deserve a lazy day. Pat that down. Make sure it's nice and your foam tape. And isn't that pretty? I would love to get a card like that in the mail. And I did put some leftover, so we do have this frame here. I don't have any here of the pattern paper, but I must have had a piece of leftover pattern paper. And I put it on the back, but I can still put the frame there. And I have a stamp that says handmade with love with my name on it. So I can stamp that right into the center of the frame. So like even on the Hunkydory punch outs, once you punch them out, just kind of look at your sheet and see all the nice frames that you can cut from your sheets. That's where these come from. Like this had words into it, the same as our shaker panel. Like that popped out this thing. So instead of throwing it out, trim around it and use the frame. Oh, you did go to the gym. Good for you. See? Not all lost at all. So there's card number 2. We have a beautiful birthday wish. Have a fabulous day, which will also be a birthday wish. Or it could be really anything. And then the backs. And all I have left for that one is 3 corners, which you know, I can use 2 of them on this one. So I'm going to put that one over there. I'm going to put a couple of corners down here. You like this one, Michelle? Shaker panels are fun. They were like the whole rave years ago. And then they kind of went away. But I still like bringing them to life when I see a good opportunity. And that acetate paper that's included with the Hunkydory, it is beautiful acetate. And it's so nice and thick. Like you could actually make an entire card with it. Oh, I have this piece left. Did I use that anywhere? I did. I used it in here. But I think I already put one in there. I did. So this is extra as well. So I'll just put that in my extra pile. And I love it when jars are empty. I'm going to throw away this jar. This is a good one. But I love it when I use up my stuff. You love them both. You're partial to the butterflies. Yeah. I understand. So let's see what card number 3 has for us. This is a pretty one. So this one actually flaps open. In here is empty. So I thought that was fun. And you flap it open. And we did put a little strip on the back. So we're using the wine colored cardstock for this one. And I think I forgot to put my acetate on this one, or unless it fell off, but I don't think it did, because I'm putting acetate on this one, it looks like. Or maybe this is what I had left over. Don't quote me on that. I'll read my directions. I try to get ahead of myself. Okay, there's a piece of acetate in this envelope, and I'm not sure why. You like the tulips? Yes, they're very pretty. So this topper, so that's the tulip one. This one is kind of square. So we'll see what I have planned for the acetate. I'm just going to put it on the side for now. So for your wine color cardstock, remember when you trim it twice if you get the package, and you'll have all your stuff cut out for your 2 cards from each color of cardstock. So we have our card base, which is 5 by 8.5. I just want to make sure. Yep, 5 by 8.5. And at the 5-inch side, we're going to score 1.5 inches down, so that you have this little flap coming down. And then from your pattern paper, you're going to trim a piece 5 by 3.5. And this is going to sit right inside there. And I'm looking to see what I got on the other side, but I do want this. I like the wine colors. And by some strange reason you don't have pattern paper at home that matches, I'm sure there probably is stuff in the sale bin at the store that would match. But this was a perfect use for the 6 by 8 pattern pads I had. So if you have some 6 by 8, look through them. So then that's that piece. And then we're going to trim a piece of pattern paper for, no, that's not it. Sorry, I already had that. Left over, there's a piece that's this one here, 1 by 4 3/4. And that's going to go up on the top. Very pretty, those toppers, beautiful blooms. That's what it is. So if you want a whole package to yourself, not sure if there's any left, but beautiful blooms is what it was the name of it. And that's going to go up here like this. And do we have some corners for this one? I don't see any corners for this one, but we had some corners for this oval one that I used here. No corners for this one, but that's okay. And now we're going to, you should have another piece of purple that is 3.5 by 5, and that's what's going to anchor us to the bottom. And then another pattern piece that is 4 3/4 by 3 1/8, and that's going to go in here. So let me adhere this one down first, and then I'll show you how easy it is to put this together. It is so easy to do split cards like this. So for the top and the bottom, I'm just going to do 1 strip of score tape, and then I'm probably going to do 3 strips going up. I'm not going to do the whole card because there's going to be an empty spot in the center. So I'll make sure my up is up. And I'm just going to do 1 here. That will be enough to hold it. And I'm going to do 3 down here, and that's because I'm using the 3/8 score tape. And score tape is pretty strong. But I'm going to stay away from this area because that's the area that's going to be out in the open. So you're going to take your backing off. That piece of acetate is just, it's not for this card. It must have been hanging around my desk and I just threw it in a package. Nothing like confusing myself. So for this piece here, you're just going to line it up to the bottom. And hold it down. While you're holding it down, you're going to hold this flap down with a finger. And just eyeball. You can do your measuring, your specific measuring if you want, but I'm kind of an eyeball person. And like I see I have some strips, so I'm wondering if I want to put a strip on the top of the bottom, but I don't think so. I'm just gonna line them up and let it go. And that's kind of what holds your two pieces together. I thought that was very neat. Now let's see what we have going on. Like I said, we had the corners, but we don't have any of those. When I flip it up, we do have, if you have extra pattern paper, I don't have any out, so I must not have had extra. But I do have those strips, so we're going to utilize them, okay? We'll use up everything that we can use up. So I'm going to put one of the silver strips maybe up here. I'm just going to mark it to trim it. I'll glue that down. Now you do have acetate left over, so like here this piece wouldn't fit because it's too. I could have made it fit though underneath. Oh, look at that! That slid right in there. Huh. Well, that was can make the bottom piece a pocket card. Absolutely. Right up here, you mean? Absolutely. This little piece actually slid right in there, so that would be, and I'm going to leave it there because I think I'll have a problem getting it out. It wasn't intentional, but now that you know that it would work, the piece was 4 inches wide by, I'm going to say 4 by 3. And then I just kind of, you see me, I just kind of flipped it in there, and I think that's going to stay on its own. I could put a little bit of adhesive down there, but I like that. That was a happy accident. But yes, absolutely could do a gift card pocket up there. I love it when you guys share ideas. I'm going to snip this one off. These are so pretty. The happy birthday is going to go on the front. I'm going to pop that up. My piece of acetate's just a little bit too wide. I might have to see if I can get it out after and trim it up a little bit. Michelle, have you been using the Hunkydory? Like I said, I know, like I see Heather and Dan saying how much of it they move, which is fantastic. but I'm definitely a fan of their acetate. These are some pretty, they look like they're poppies. Now you can flag these if you want. Just looking to see if I have any use for these little bits. I'll just leave them to the side for now. So that's card number 3. So we have poppies and tulips. I like this saying, friends are like flowers, they bring color to your world. So that's fantastic. There's that one. Okie dokie. We're rolling right along here. So we're on to that was just what you get in your packages. But like I said, Heather might have slipped in other things. She has the foresight to do that. I'm still trying to learn. So this one is this pretty coral color. And on this one, we have a flap up. And again, we're using some of that awesome acetate. So this one, flap up. I like it. And this one's got all kinds of pretty purple and coral flowers. And there's another one of those frames. So this must have been a sheet that I was looking at the frame and thought, don't throw that away. More at Christmas than now? Well, I'm very impressed with these designs for like birthdays. They're so elegant looking. I'm just trimming up my frame. Because remember, these aren't, these are just the leftover pieces after you pop things out. So you have to kind of cut them. Oh, I broke it. Oh darn. It's only on the back. I wasn't being very careful. Okay. So this one we have a salmon color or coral colored base. That's 5.5 by 5.5. And it is textured, so you want the textured side up. And then you're going to cut a piece that's 5.5 by 3. And on the 3-inch side, you're going to score a 1/2 inch. And I'm going to varnish that down. And I'm going to put my score tape right here. It's kind of on the textured side. I'm looking to see if I got a score tape open that would fit that, but I don't. This one will do. Oh, I told you wrong. See, good thing you guys aren't making with me. Now, you see what I mean by if you peel it, it will take the paper with it. I'm okay with that because I have a bit of a banner. So when I look at this card, I actually had it so that the hinge was on the front like that. And I did that because if I did it this way, then my card front would be too short. So do your score, and your score tape's going to go on the smooth side of your cardstock. You guys are a patient bunch. You don't hold anything against me. So I'm just going to turn it over because I want to use my grid so that I can line it up. And I'm just coming a little ways, probably a ½ inch from that left hand side. And I just want to make sure that this part's on straight. There we go. So now we fold up so we can varnish that. Might have to do some more online shopping. Listen, Michelle, don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. Now you see what I did? I gotta really read my directions. I put them down for a reason, and then I don't read them. So before you adhere your flap down, put your cardstock to the base. And this is cut at 4 3/4. Nope, sorry. This one is cut 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim a little bit off the bottom because of my boo-boo. I don't want to pull that store tape up again. So I am going to cut like 3/8 off my bottom to make that fit. So now, if any of you purchase the kits or the packages, I don't like calling them kits because they don't have instructions written in them, and you're having a hard time making out this video and you want me to send you instructions, just let me know. It wouldn't take too long to type them up and send them out. So because I made a boo-boo and I kind of want it to be matchy-matchy, I think I am going to do a little piecemeal here. So I'm just kind of lining it up so I can get my cuts. So I'm going to cut there, and I'm going to cut there. I don't need it over the top here because I'm going to use a piece of the trim. Like I say, there's never any errors. You just fix them up. Yeah, so I do apologize if I get off kilter with my instructions. I know that can be infuriating, especially if you decide one day to make with me. There's a reason why people don't make with their instructor. And it could be because she tells you to do things and then says, oops, don't do that. No errors, just alterations. Yes, I agree. But some people are very structured and they get annoyed, and I totally get that. If you're paying for a kit of some sort and it's not coming together the way it should, and it's the error of the instructor, I get it. Okay, so let me read my instructions. So you're going to trim out the frame, and then you're going to trim 2 pieces of pattern paper. In your case, if you're doing the package, just remember you're going to double it. So you're going to have one piece that's 3 by 3 and one piece that's 2 3/4 by 4 3/4. So I'm using the dotted on this one, I think. Yeah, because the pattern was really pretty, but it kind of clashed a little bit. So I'll use the dotted. So this piece is going here. That's the 2 3/4 by 4 3/4. using the dotted side, but again, you use whatever you want for your pattern. And then I'm going to take a little bit of the trim. Now there's one trim that's longer than the other, so I think I will take the shorter one for here. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. Pencil. This is how I used to cut all the time. I would never measure. I would use my pencil, and it took me, I forget which online teacher it was. I think it was Vicki Booten. She drilled it in our heads to measure, and I got really good at measuring, but I still kind of fall to these little pencil and mark and trim for stuff like this. So then this one I'm actually going to pop up, but it's just popping up a half. So lay it down and kind of keep your finger, take your pencil and just put a soft line. So I know my tape's got to go on this side of that line. My pop foam. And I go through rolls of this stuff. Again, I love it. Josh? Sounds like somebody's got something boiling on the stove. So foam. And I'm going to be way away from my line, so that's good. And I can use my dots here to kind of help me line it up. And for the saying, it says, now the only thing with these Hunkydory that annoyed me a little bit was that when I punched them out, there was these little, I don't know what you call them, little gibbets, I call them, where I have to sand them off because they drive me crazy. That's just me. So this is with love to someone special. So I'm going to pop this up. And we're going to put it down here. And then on the inside, I'm just going to have a look at the one that I made. So you have another piece that's longer, and that's going to go over the acetate. So you're going to use another piece of acetate. This is the lined one. And again, I'm going to use the silver side, and we are going to cut the acetate 4 3/4 by 4 3/4, and it's going to go right down here. Now all I did for adhering it is I'm going to put a little strip of double-sided tape on this first line, and then I'm going to measure up probably to this line here, and I'll put the other one, and then that way our strip, our banner that we're going to put across, will hide the tape, and you don't see the one up here at all. So for the one up here, I need 1/8 of an inch. And I might as well use the same, so I think I'm going to go up to the 3rd hyphenated line. Not doing too bad. It's an hour and 10 minutes in. And just center that and then stick it down. So I have this piece for this side right here. So this one is, let me measure it. It says 3 by 3. Yep, that's what it says. So I'm going to put it right down here. I might use the pattern side. There's like a little bit of writing, or there's no big patterns here. I can get away with it. Yes, I love the acetate too. How are you, Erin? Happy to have you join us. The acetate is beautiful, and it's so nice and thick that you could make card fronts with your acetate. So I'm just gonna measure this with my pencil. I cut it wonky on this side, so Josh, Darren, somebody got something boiling?
Yeah.
Take a little sliver more. Very neat card. Oh, thanks, Suzanne. Yeah, they're fun. We're doing some different flaps this round. And you'll have enough in your kit if you're just joining us. There's some packages at the store. I think there's still some left. You'll have enough to do 2 of each design, so that will be 12 cards. I did decide though to take from my own stash some pattern paper that matched, to just knock it up a bit. You don't have to, but it was a great way for me to use up some of my stash, and I thought the same would be for anybody who was buying the kit. So, and then we have this little one left called Thank You, with love to someone special, and thank you on the inside. So this will be a thank you card. And because it's acetate, I'm going to use some double-sided tape. Yeah, it's pretty. I'll show you at the end. I'll show you the ones that you might have missed if you're still around, Suzanne. And if anybody buys a package and you go review this video, which I will upload to my YouTube channel at It Conspire Crafter, so that if something happens that it is deleted by Facebook, you'll still have it. But if you're having trouble, just let me know. I'll hang on to my instructions for a bit, and I can type them out for you. So this is the first one, the sample one, and this is the second one. They're pretty near, close, the same kind of look. And we have, I wrote my frame for this one, but we have this little piece of trim left, and that we can flag on both sides and stick it down for a little back of the card decoration. Yeah, no problem, Suzanne. And the other thing may not be in your kit are envelopes. That is all my fault. Unless Heather decided to put some in, but I did not tell her the card size I was making because I didn't know at the time. So I do apologize for that. If there's something missing from your kit, more than likely it's my fault. I'll have to take the blame. There. So that's number 4 done. Thanks, Erin. Now on to card 5. So this is card 5. This is a fun one. So it's up and it tucks. So it kind of opens like that. So when it's flat, it's down like that. And then it comes up and it tucks in and the top pops up. Can you see that okay? It's very fun. So let's get making this one. I'm going to put it here to the side so I can refer to it. And here's all my pieces. So you're going to cut a piece that's 7 by 10, and you're going to score it at the 5-inch mark. And again, well, I should say do it like this. So your piece is 7 by 10. Putting your 7-inch side of paper in, you'll score it at 2.5, and then again at 5. So 2.5 and then 5. I don't know why I didn't get down to trimming my pattern paper, but look, that's such a nice match, isn't it? So we're going to trim pattern paper to 4 3/4 by 6. Now I'm just looking. I just want to make sure on my sample I did that right. You guys bear with me. I see what I did. So still do it as I did it, but you're going to then trim 1 inch off the entire length, and we're going to be using that blue paper. So thought it was easier to cut it larger, score it, and then trim it so that you'd have your exact pieces for the front. So off the entire length, so your end card is actually going to be 6 by 10. But you need this piece, and it's easier if you score it first. That's why, because I was looking at my pattern paper, I'm like, I have to trust myself. I wrote these instructions, and I have such a hard time trusting myself. So we're going to cut a piece that's 4 3/4 by 6. That's our 6. So we need 4 3/4. And that's going to be the inside, I believe, from, don't cut with me if you have the kit, add a piece of the cream to the top, which I'll get to, trim remaining piece to 2 3/4, or sorry, 2 3/8. And then you have this piece, which you need. Okay? Trust the process. Trust the process. Because we trimmed this down to 6, and this is completely 6, I'm just going to trim 1/8. Because I want a little bit of that blue shining through, so I'm going to trim 1/8 off of each piece. And I'm out of frame. I do apologize for that. This is a big trimmer. So off the 6-inch side, I'm just going to trim 1/8 off of all 3 pieces, because because I like a little bit of the cardstock shining through. And then you should have some leftover cream, and that's not big enough. So I need a piece. Now you can do this two ways. You can cut it right at the 6th and then trim an 1/8, or you can go 5 7/8 by, where's my cream? One and a half. So there's my cream. I had a piece there, but it wasn't big enough. So now let's start assembling. Pardon me. So I want to take my one that I have here. So the front of your card, there's no texture to this blue cardstock. It's like a navy blue, so it doesn't matter. So you're going to take your piece that is 2 3/8 by 5 7/8, and that is going at the very bottom. Just leaving a little tad of the blue showing all the way around. And then you're going to take your piece that was left over and put that at the very bottom part of this next fold. Now you may have, depending on what you pick out for pattern paper, you may have a big enough piece to fill this whole part in with pattern, and if you do, that's fine. I didn't because I was using a 6 by 8. That's why I then took from my leftovers a piece of the cream that was 5 7/8 by 1 1/2, and that's going to go to fill in up here. I think this is my favorite card, although the shaker ones are pretty nice too. And then you open your card, and this is where your largest piece of pattern paper will go. And this one again is 5 7/8 by 4 3/4. Okay, so we're almost there. They come together really, really swiftly once you get your stuff cut. So for the, again, this was leftover pattern from another card, and this piece is 3/4 by 3 3/4, and I just used that on this one to anchor the front down and to have my little baubles stand out. And yes, I think I'll do it for the same here. I just didn't know if this pattern would work, but it does. So what I'm going to do, instead of putting glue here, is I'm just going to put a little bead of glue, liquid glue, to this one, because I want to make sure that this part is even. And just wipe off any liquid glue that you have behind. And it's just popped up. So we're only going to put adhesive on half of this one. So you have to kind of imagine it popped up. So I'm going to put it up here, have a look at it. Oh, you know what? I did the same thing for this one. This one I'm going to do it off the top though. Because if I don't, your card's, it's going to extend past. So I need to take off right to here from the top. You can do it from the bottom if you want, but I'm going to use this top piece. If you do it from the bottom, you'll be able to use your bottom piece, but your card front should lay flat on your card in order to fit into your 5x7 envelope. I hope that makes sense. So I'm just going to flip this up and make a little mark on the back so I know I can't put tape past this line. So I can only do tape below that line. Yeah, so you can definitely trim off your bottom if you prefer that. I trimmed off the bottom on this card, but this time I decided to trim off the top. You decide what you prefer. So, tape is only on here, so we're going to go, oh, before I tape it down, this is where our blue piece that we cut off is going to come in handy. So I did put a blue strip just to break up the pattern paper a little bit. So right here we're going to cut it off at that score line. And this part will get glued down, and it's already scored right on there. So I'll use some score tape, or some some double-sided score tape. Don't put your tape across your score line, just it helps it lay flat better if you don't. So I just put it on either side of the score line. And I opened up my card, so this is kind of my card front. And I'm going to come probably about 3/4 of an inch. And then just lay that down and then varnish it really good. And then for this piece, if you line your card up like this, then that's going to go on the inside. Just going to have a look, make sure, yep, so that's going to go on the inside. And it looks like I can trim, well no, it's going to go right to the score line. So put your score tape, and then you can hold this piece down for you to line it up. So we're just going to hold that down. We're going to go right to the score line. There. Now I can put down my top piece. So to put down your top piece, you're going to lay your card flat. You already know you only have tape to go to your score line, so you're good. And I'm going to leave a little bit of that blue shining through, and put the purple to the bottom. And it's like that. So now to get the card to stand up, I did have some left over purple from one of the other cards. So that it's kind of important to go in order if you get the package, so that you have these leftover pieces. And it is 2.5 by 4. And what I did is I put that down on the top, but I think what I'll do is I'll position this piece first. So we have our piece, and we're going to put foam tape up on it because we need it up high enough so that the colors will loop in. Yes, the colors will loop in. The flap will tuck in. The colors are very pretty. And Erin, I had 2 different 49 and Market 6x8 pads, and I can't remember the name of them. I know I put them in a post somewhere, but I just went through my stash and seeing what pattern paper I had that matched it, and it was great. So some foam tape. Now we are going to have to trim this off. So my little pencil, and we're going to go right to there. Snip that off, and we'll take this off. Now before you commit, you're going to hold your flap up so you have it exactly where you want it. So you're going to have your flap like this. You're going to hold it up, and you're going to then position at least the first part where you want it. And then I'm using my grid mat to line it up. So I want it about there. And now I can put my little purple piece down. This piece that I cut off from the top, I'm actually going to glue it right here. And I had, oh, I do. I was going to say I had one with this one. And this one says, wishing you a blooming, lovely day. So we're going to tuck that down here. If I was you looking at the 2 cards, I would definitely trim this on the bottom. I don't like the look of it from the top. So I'm going to have to come up with something creative. Maybe. Maybe this will do it. I like that. There. So I put my saying up top. I didn't like it because the foil was gone from the top. So when you trim your pieces, trim them from the bottom, not the top. So you have to trim them in order for your cards to fit into your envelope, unless you want to make a specialty envelope and not a 5x7. But that will fix that. Wishing you a blooming lovely day. Now I did put some little gemstones down on the sample one, but I didn't put them in my kit. So I will dig out in my stash and get them later on to finish up that one. So there's number 5. They're very cute, I have to say. And look at your leftovers. I think I might have pulled this from a previous leftover one, but there's one sitting right up there. This could have been part of the kit that I shoot over. So let me put this down here. And I use my grid to line me up. There. Yep, so I will get some little pearls and I will put them on here. So there are cards 5. And for the last card, this color's pretty too. So this is on the olive green, and it's kind of a flip out with an extra bonus of some acetate. So it kind of looks like, well, I don't think you can see the acetate. See it there? I use everything left over, Suzanne. If you follow any of my videos, I use leftovers, especially for cards. I'll take, if I have any pattern paper or pieces, I'll use them on the envelopes. So yeah, so this one's kind of flips out like an accordion, but there's a piece of acetate there. The acetate's just so pretty, it just looks nice sitting there. Okay, let's see what we have here. Oh, I did put my little gems in this one. I must have missed the other one. Okay. But yeah, you get quite a lot on your out of those sheets. So this is the last card. So we have a piece, and this is textured, so texture side up. Carolyn, hi. Yeah, thank you. I had fun doing all the different folds. Then I really challenged myself to find something different than my go-to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card. This stuff is just so special that I wanted to do something different. So you're going to cut a piece that's 5 by 8. And sliding the 5-inch forward, you're going to flip it over because you want the smooth side. Well, actually, you're going to leave it. Sorry, leave it on the textured side first to score it. So you're going to come all the way out, and you're going to score it at 3. And then again at 1 1/2. 3 and 1 1/2. Okay. So when you take it out, you want the textured side up. So your first flap is going to go this way. So you'll burnish it flat with the non-textured side. And then you're going to bring this one back on itself and then burnish it again so that you have this little bitty accordion. And for your pattern paper, you need a couple of different pieces. So you need a piece that's going to be on the main page here, and that is 4 7/8 by 4 7/8, and this one gets stuck down right inside here. Yeah, so just go through. I explained earlier, there's no pattern paper in the package, and I did that for 2 reasons. One was to maintain the cost, because this is what I would call a higher priced package, because it's like just under $20. You're going to get 12 cards out of it, but the Hunkydory stuff plus the acetate is what drove the cost up. So I didn't want to add pattern paper in. I know we all have loads of pattern paper, so just look through your stash and find stuff that kind of matches the colors of the Hunkydory Beautiful Blooms package. So like that's what the outside of the package looks like. So like you have lavenders, blues, purples, burgundies, a little bit of pinks. You'll know by the card stock that you get, because you're getting all the card stock for all 12 cards, as to what kind of pattern paper. And then just use that. And then you need another piece that is, I think all of these are the same, but I will measure. I got really sloppy with my measurements here coming in the end. 1 1/4 by 4 7/8, 1 1/4 by 4 7/8. So 2 pieces, that's 1 1/4 by 4 7/8, and then 1 piece that is 1 by 4 7/8. Again, if you're getting the package, cut enough for 2 cards, and then you'll have all your cutting done at the same time. And then we're just going to piece these ones down. This one goes I'm looking to see where the 1 goes. The 1 you don't need. That was extra. I was looking and wondering why I had so many of the same ones. And I think this paper matches up a little bit. And I'm just going to unfold it so that all the textured side is up, and that's where our pattern paper is going. Love that each person's cards will be more distinct. Yes, for sure, with the different pattern paper. At first I wasn't going to use pattern paper, and then when I started to make them, I just felt it needed it. So you're going to use the acetate that has the daisies going across it, and my piece is 3 3/4 by 4 3/4. And on the 3 1/4 side, 3 3/4 side, you're going to score a 1/2 inch, and then you're going to fold it and varnish it. Like, this acetate is thick. but when you burnish it, it folds so nice. And I'm just going to have a look. And you decide what you want facing up, if it's the silver side or the gold. I've been sticking with the silver because that's kind of what's been lining our paper. And I did not burnish that right. It is a bugger to burnish your lines. I like to fold it down because it is so thick. Once you get it burnished down, you're going to put a piece of score tape on the flap. And I really like the idea of using new stuff with some old stuff from your stash, so you're actually using up stuff. Fuzz on it. So with the burnished folded edge down, that's the part I put the adhesive on, and you're just going to line it up in the middle-ish and put it down, and then burnish it really well. And it really does nothing other than offer like a little bit of an embellishment inside the card. And for inside here, you're going to take one of your, well, you actually have one long one and one small one. The small one's going to stay for the outer part of the card, and this one's going to go on the inside flap like this. This says, here's a wish that your special day blooms with happiness in every single way. And this is a get well soon. And the verses are really nice. And I put my little dots down here so I can do that. Well, maybe I'll wait and do that at the last because they do take a minute to dry. And this is the part that's going to go on the top part of the card. Now I just have to measure, see how long this is. This is 6. So we have a decision to make. Either you make a special envelope, because your envelope will have to be like 6 1/4 by 5 1/4, or you trim both ends off. I think I'm going to choose to trim both ends off. I think I'll be okay with that because they'll both be balanced, than to make a specialty card. I'm going to do it. You can have a look at it and see what you think. So to trim both ends off, you're going to trim at 1/2 inch on either side. And I am okay with that. Now, what you could do is how we did the other card, is you could go back and glue these on, but I don't think that would look right. Like the vase is down here. Well, it wouldn't look horrible, but I am okay with having these off. I'd rather have a card that fits in my envelope than one that doesn't. Now you can get creative and you can notch the corners if you have a corner notcher or around them. I'm just going to leave it as is, and I'm going to put one line of score tape because this one hangs off of the card. And my score tape is, what size is this? This is 1/2 inch. Thanks for sticking with me. We're almost at the 2-hour mark. And this is with me pre-cutting everything. Good Lord. And I'm just going to adhere this down there. So instead of putting my dots on the inside, because this card front is shaped differently, so my little embellishments look good here, I think I'm going to put them on the outside of this one. So I'll line them up down here. I can do that after. And I'm going to pop up the get well, but before I put that down, let's see where we can use these. I used one here because it was a happy birthday. This one says have a beautiful day, or it's just a flower trim. Maybe. I think I'll do the bottom because I put my acetate up a little bit too high in the second card to do the top. So I'm going to put this one on the bottom. And it was really hard. I couldn't get a good picture of all the cards because they're different folds. Maybe what I'll do is do one of those reels tomorrow. Now I do have this leftover piece of pattern paper, so I could put it on the inside. I think I will. Why keep it left over? And even though the two cards are designed the same, they look completely different because of the panels that are on them. Like we have these little bits. We could definitely use one for in here, just to dress that up a little bit. If I can get it out. The ones that I cut off at the top and the bottom, because that silver just makes it really shine. And then the other piece I'll use on the back of my card, just to add a little bit of silver note back there. And we do have this little piece. We could put it there, but it's too close to the pattern, so I think I'm going to forfeit that. But our dots here, I think I'd like my embellishments down here instead. So I'm just gonna, and I don't get overly picky with placement, but if you're someone who needs to be exactly center, please feel free to take your time and do that. I like them to be in a row, like, you know, lined up right, but it doesn't matter to me if they're further from one end or the other, as long as they're spaced pretty close together, like the same, then it doesn't matter to me. But you do what you choose. And for those Hunkydory lovers out there that has all kinds of panels already, then feel free to use these fold-in ways to use up your stash. But I really, really love the acetate. So I don't know if there's any left at the store for acetate, but it is beautiful acetate. So that was our final card. So kind of accordion. And that's the one we just did together. And I don't miss the silver because it's balanced. It's the same on both ends. So I'm okay with that. And let me show you the other ones real quick. So this was our first 2 cards. And this was with an acetate front panel. So we have one that's got a square and one with a circle. These beautiful teal colors. And then we had a shaker one. Could you send the measurements? Missed a couple when the neighbor stopped for a bit. Yeah, I'll post them. Then we have the shaker ones. So nice shaker panels with that lovely acetate again. Do watch the video though, Carolyn, just because I want to make sure that you put the right pieces in the right spaces. And then this is the other shaker one. So the acetates are different just because of the size. I had to cut this. This one has the flowers across the front, and this one has, when I first looked at it, it looked like ships, but it's not. It's just different edging of paper, it looks like, in the acetate print. So those are shaker ones. And then we had these ones that are kind of separated from each other. So lovely tulips, and then some pansies. And this piece of acetate that's in there, I'll put it in the measurements, but it was by luck. I had a little piece of acetate left over, and it just kind of slid in there really nicely. And then we had these coral purple ones that flopped up like so. And then these ones, the blue ones that had the fold. They fold up like that. And then the ones we just did. So the accordion style with the piece of acetate in the center. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. As usual, it's longer than I anticipated, even with everything pre-cut. But it was fun. Thanks for tuning in. I will upload the video to my YouTube channel either tonight or tomorrow. And I will get the measurements and post them in the on the page, on the Facebook page. Where else could I post them? I think you'll see them there on the Facebook page, right? If for some reason you can't find them, just let me know, and I'll forward them to you. I won't get those done probably though till tomorrow. So thanks for tuning in with me. We'll see you next weekend. Next weekend is our Simple Stories calendar class for March. I did do my little calendar, my 8x8 one today, and I actually used leftovers from the Wedding Bliss 3/4 design and did this one. But the one that we do is the Simple Stories one, and we'll be doing that next Sunday. And I did post this, and I have to say I am in love with it. It is a single page layout and is with the Wedding Bliss line, but I just love all the clusters. Used the uniquely creative, what do they call this stuff? It's like a cloth. I used All in Create index cards, so my pictures are going to be 3x4, and I'm going to put them here. It won't cover up all the index card. Did lots of stitching. These little, I had some vintage buttons that were off-white, and then these little brads were in my stash for ever. Look, there's one here, There's one here that's a little rose. Cheesecloth, yeah. But it's not called cheesecloth. It's called something else. But it's by Uniquely Creative. And then these little leaves. Oh, they're also by Uniquely Creative. And gobble them up. I'm going to see if there's any more. I'm going to get another package. And I just dyed them. I sprayed them with some Distress Stain to get them off-white. But they have all kinds of little doilies and flowers made out of material. It's very nice. So yeah, I love that. So I've been busy. Nice to see you all. And we will chat real soon. Take care, everyone.